Amani Toomer's here to talk to us about it from NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network, which you can listen at NBCSportsRadio.com. Amani, championship weekend. You've been a part of championship weekend as a player. Give us a little insight on what these four teams, the players, are feeling right now.
I mean, you're so excited because of the fact that you are one game, one play, one snap, one quarter away. If you have a good game, you'll be remembered forever in your town. So, I think just like the Freddie Mitchell play, you'll be remembered forever because of that play. So you have a chance of a little bit of football immortality. So everybody's excited. You're really close, but really it hasn't really changed yet. I mean, nothing's changed in terms of the schedule. It's a regular week. Everything is pretty much maybe a little bit more media, but that's about it. So it doesn't really change until you go to the Super Bowl. Once you go to the Super Bowl, everything changes. So, but you're really excited right now, and you're kind of focusing on what you have to do, and you're super confident. I actually never lost a championship game, so I wouldn't know what it's like to lose. But
look at that, a giant guy, by the way, with a 4th and 26 reference. We love it. You just talked about the excitement these guys are feeling. Do you think the Vikings are going to have a tough time refocusing themselves after the way they pulled out their game?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes it fuels your team into, focusing extra hard, knowing that you were that close to being eliminated. You never really can tell. But the fact that they're playing again this weekend, and maybe they realize, we got to play better because, we almost lost. As good as we've been all year, we've almost lost. It could be one of those situations where, it refocuses the team when you can kind of lose in terms of preparing like you lost the game when you don't really lose. And that's kind of a good situation to be in. That's what Coach Coughlin used to always say, prepare like you lost last week so that you'll perform better in the week after.
Speaking of Coach Coughlin, his Jaguars, obviously he's not the coach, but thumbprint is on that team. If you were to say Jacksonville was to beat Pittsburgh, I wouldn't be surprised, Amani, but it was how they beat Pittsburgh. Can they carry that over and bring it to New England and advance to the Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be a defining game for the NFL and moving forward because of the fact that, NFL used to always be about blocking and tackling. You win the games in the trenches. Jacksonville is going to win this game in the trenches. It's just a matter of will the Patriots be able to scheme their way into stopping Leonard Fournette, or are they going to use Tom Brady, Gronkowski? But that defense that the Patriots, that the Jacksonville Jaguars have, is going to be interesting to see if they can really effectively slow down or stop Tom Brady.
Amani Toomer, NBC Sports Radio, with us. The Vikings and the Eagles. When we talk about these two teams, Amani, they're very similar. Defense and quarterbacks coming out of nowhere. So, of these two teams, whose makeup do you like better at this stage of the season?
I like the Eagles just because they're playing at home and they've won big games this year. I think their defense has come a long way. They're playing super aggressive, and I think that them playing in a tough game this weekend versus Atlanta and doing what they did to Atlanta offense, I think it puts a little feather in their hat. But being at home and being at the link, I think that's going to give them the advantage. And I anticipate Philadelphia moving on this weekend.
All right, so it seems like you like Philadelphia there.
I wanted to have.
Well,
like Philadelphia. Don't ever say that.
I told you last night, Amani, I'm watching the Football Fanatic where this guy Darren McMullen, he's trying to pick which team he wants to be a fan of. The first episode was Giants. The next episode was Eagles. So you were part of the committee or the Giant fan base that was trying to convince this young man to be a Giant fan, and you had him tripping all over his feet trying to catch the football.
Yeah, I tried to teach him some technique. I didn't know he would. I said, catch the ball, and instead of trying to, tap your feet in, kick your own heel. And he kicked his own heel and he fell down. I'm like, no, you're supposed to stay up. Don't fall down. I mean, it's not part of the game.
Oh, man, it was funny. It was good stuff. When I saw you on there, I'm like, they got every team has kind of had like a legendary figure in their organization, a Super Bowl champion of some sort, pitch this guy on why their team's the best. And when I saw you out there, I was like, this is pretty neat. And then, the Eagles pulled out Brian Dawkins. So I don't know, man. B. Dawk or Amani?
He's not a Super Bowl guy, though. He's not a Super Bowl guy.
Well, he got
Super Bowl.
Denver, right?
Why'd they put him in there?
Yeah, well,
they got to get somebody out from the 50s that won a championship.
1960, Amani. All right, Eagles and Falcons. Let me get your take on or where Case Keenum is. Watching him last week in that playoff game and how that game went, if the game is late on the line like it was last week, do you feel that Case Keenum against this Eagles defense, that he has the capability to lead this team to a Super Bowl?
Absolutely. Absolutely. After what he did last week, all my doubts about Case Keenum kind of went out the window. I mean, the guy did it in the most crucial point in the season, the most crucial drive of the year. He did it. I mean, twice actually, because he did it early to get the lead, and then to put them in a position to win the game. So I don't have any doubts about him now. I think that the game is going to be really determined. Usually, is determined on the line of scrimmages.
Yeah.
I would love to see Ajayi running against Minnesota. I think that's going to be an interesting matchup as well.
Yeah, and the Eagles' defense last week, Amani, I thought the Eagles' defense of all the teams in the playoffs last week, I think their defense played better than any other unit of all the teams. The Jacksonville offense, the New England offense. I thought the Eagles defense had the best weekend of all. They dominated like nobody else. Can they do it back-to-back weeks? I guess that's really going to be the story, because I thought they won on the line of scrimmage. Fletcher Cox dominated that game.
Oh, absolutely. And Graham as well. I mean, they both had big games. So I think that, when you look at how this game is going to shake itself out, like I always said, it's going to be on the line of scrimmages. It's going to be on the lines. Who's going to dominate the line of scrimmage, and who's going to separate themselves in that matter.
All right, Amani Toomer, NBC Sports. You sound like you were leaning towards the Eagles. Do you think Jacksonville can pull off an upset?
Absolutely. Just because they keep talking about the same thing over and over like a broken record. The games are won at the line of scrimmage, and I don't think you're going to win either line of scrimmage against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, they do have an advantage in coaching. They do have an advantage in, with Tom Brady and Gronkowski. But I don't know how you're going to stop Calais Campbell. I don't know how you're going to stop Marcel Darius. And those two, that's inside pressure. That's what you need to slow down a great quarterback like Tom Brady. Collapse the pocket, and once you do that, he becomes not terrific Tom, but just Tom.
By the way, I think there's more acting in your future. You look good on TV last night, my man. Amani Toomer, NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network, NBCSportsRadio.com. Download their mobile app today. Thanks, pal.
Oh, thanks for having me.